The Grumman OV-1 Mohawk was an armed military observation and attack aircraft, designed for battlefield surveillance and light strike capabilities. It was a twin turboprop configuration, and carried 2 crew members in side-by-side seating. The Mohawk was intended to operate from short, unimproved runways in support of United States Army maneuver forces. Development. The Mohawk began as a joint Army-Marine program through the then Navy Bureau of Aeronautics, for an observation attack plane that would outperform the Cessna L-19 Bird Dog. In June 1956, the Army issued Type Specification TS-145, which called for the development and procurement of a 2-seat, twin turboprop aircraft designed to operate from small, unimproved fields under all weather conditions. It would be faster, with greater firepower, and heavier armor than the Bird Dog, which had proved vulnerable during the Korean War. The Mohawk's mission would include observation, artillery spotting, air control, emergency resupply, naval target spotting, liaison, and radiological monitoring. The Navy specified that the aircraft must be capable of operating from small, Jeep, escort-class carriers. The DoD selected Grumman Aircraft Corporation's G134 design as the winner of the competition in 1957. Marine requirements contributed an unusual feature to the design. As originally proposed, the OV-1 could be fitted with water skis that would allow the aircraft to land at sea and taxi to island beaches at 20 knots. Since the Marines were authorized to operate fixed-wing aircraft in the close air support role, the mock-up also featured underwing pylons for rockets, bombs, and other stores. The Air Force did not like the armament capability of the Mohawk and tried to get it removed. The Marines did not want the sophisticated sensors the Army wanted, so when the Navy sponsors opted to buy a fleet oil tanker, they dropped from the program. The Army continued with armed Mohawks and developed cargo pods that could be dropped from underwing hardpoints to resupply troops in emergencies. The radar imaging capability of the Mohawk was to prove a significant advance in both peace and war. The side-looking airborne radar could look through foliage and map terrain, presenting the observer with a film image of the Earth below only minutes after the area was scanned. In military operations, the image was split in 2 parts, one showing fixed terrain features, the other spotting moving targets. The prototype first flew on April 14, 1959. The OV-1 entered production in October 1959. In mid-1961, the first Mohawks to serve with U.S. forces overseas were delivered to the 7th Army at Sandhofen Airfield near Mannheim, Germany. Before its formal acceptance, the camera carrying A-01AF was flown by Ralph Donnell on a tour of 29 European airfields to display it to the U.S. Army field commanders and potential European customers. In addition to the Vietnam and European service, SLAR-equipped Mohawks began operational missions in 1963, patrolling the Korean demilitarized zone. Germany and France showed early interest in the Mohawk, and Grumman actually signed a license production agreement with the French manufacturer Breguet Aviation in exchange for American rights to the Atlantic Maritime Patrol aircraft. The very nature of the joint Army-Marine program had forced design compromises, such as ejection seats that made the aircraft expensive and sometimes an openly resisted item in Army budgets. Orders for the OV-1 stopped in fiscal 1964, and the controversy in the Pentagon over the armed Mohawk peaked with a 1965 directive that prohibited the Army from operating armed fixed-wing air aircraft. Operational success in Vietnam led to additional Mohawk orders in 1966, and by 1968, 5 surveillance companies were operating in Southeast Asia. The last of the Mohawk versions to enter production was the OV-1D with more powerful T-53-701 engines, improved avionics, and interchangeable mission pallets that made it possible to switch the aircraft from infrared to SLAR configuration in about an hour. The first 4 OV-1Ds were prototypes converted from earlier production airframes, and the first flew in 1969. These were followed by 37 new-build aircraft, the last of which was delivered in December 1970. Over the years, the mission and the aircraft underwent many changes and roughly 380 were built over all variants. Mohawk variants included the JOV-1, OV-1A, OV-1B, the OV-1C, and the OV-1D, OV-1E, EV-1E and RV-1E. A 4-engined Model 134E with tilt wings and tail-ducted fan for control for VTOL was proposed to the Army but not built. Model 134R was a tandem cockpit version offered to meet the light armed reconnaissance aircraft requirement, but the NA-300 was chosen instead, becoming the OV-10. Operational history. United States Army. The OV-1 saw combat with the U.S. Army in the Vietnam War, with 65 lost to operational accidents, anti-aircraft fire, ground fire and 1 shot down by a North Vietnamese fighter, and during Operation Desert Storm. Starting in 1972, the Army National Guard began to receive the Mohawk, with the ARNG eventually operating 13 OV-1Bs, 24 OV-1Cs, and 16 OV-1Ds, serving with 3 aviation units in Georgia and Oregon. U.S. Army OV-1s were retired from Europe in 1992, from Korea in September 1996, and finally in the United States in 1996, superseded by newer systems, newer aircraft, and the evolution of reconnaissance satellites. The OV-1 was primarily replaced by the EO-5C, a militarized version of the de Havilland Canada-7 turboprop commuter airliner equipped with a SLAR system, until the U.S. Air Force's Northrop Grumman E-8 Joint Stars aircraft became fully operational. As of 2011, Alliant Tech Systems has partnered with the Broad Bay Group and Mohawk Technologies of Florida in a venture to return an armed, modernized version of the OV-1D to operational use as a counterinsurgency aircraft. A demonstrator has been equipped with a FLIR Star Sapphire turret and a ventral trainable M230 chain gun. Argentine Army. The Argentine Army Aviation received 23 OV-1 in the 1990s. 10 were operational and the rest were used for spare parts. Inactive and retired from use in 2015. Variants. JA-1 initial prototypes. OV-1A Daylight Observation Variant. OV-1B SLAR Variant. OV-1CIR Reconnaissance Variant. OV-1D Consolidated Sensor Variant. JOV-1A OV-1 is an OV-1C fitted with armament. RV-1C Quick Look ELINT machines. RV-1D Quick Look 2 ELINT machine. OV-1E prototype for unproduced modernized variant. Former operators. Argentina, Argentine Army Aviation. Israel, Israeli Air Force. United States Army. Survivors. Airworthy 592604 OV-1A flown by the Planes of Fame Air Museum in Chino, California. 59-2631 United States Military Air Power Museum in Jacksonville, Florida has the only restored and flying OV-1B. 62-5874 flown by the Carolinas Aviation Museum at air shows. 62-5889 Cavanaugh Flight Museum flies 1 Mohawk. 62-5890 flown by the Carolinas Aviation Museum at air shows. 64-14262 American Wings Air Museum, Blaine, Minnesota. 67-15959 operated by Mohawk Technologies and based at Palm Beach County Park Airport in Lantana, Florida. 67-18899 operated by Mohawk Technologies and based at Palm Beach County Park Airport in Lantana, Florida. 67-18923 operated by Mohawk Technologies and based at Palm Beach County Park Airport in Lantana, Florida. 67-18924 operated by Mohawk Technologies and based at Palm Beach County Park Airport in Lantana, Florida. 67-18926 owned by Paul Peffley, CEO of Mohawk Technologies, and based at Palm Beach County Park Airport in Lantana, Florida. 68-15936 American Wings Air Museum, Blaine, Minnesota. 68-15946 operated by Mohawk Technologies and based at Palm Beach County Park Airport in Lantana, Florida. 68-15947 located at Air Heritage Museum, Beaver County Airport, Pennsylvania. No longer owned by museum. 68-15958 Mohawk Air Shows operates an OV-1 RV-1 Mohawk on the airshow circuit, flying demonstrations and serving as a flying monument to Vietnam. Mia Powers. 69-17004 operated by Mohawk Technologies and based at Palm Beach County Park Airport in Lantana, Florida. 69-17021 American Wings Air Museum, Blaine, Minnesota. Static display 576539 YOV-1A on display at the United States Army Aviation Museum in Fort Rucker, Alabama. 603747 OV-1C on display at the 1st Cavalry Division Museum in Fort Hood, Texas. 61-2724 The Pima Air and Amp Space Museum adjacent to Davis Month and Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona lists an OV-1C Mohawk as a static display. 62-5856 The Wings of Eagles Discovery Center owns an OV-1C on static display among its collection. 62-5860 OV-1B on display at the United States Army Aviation Museum in Fort Rucker, Alabama. 62-5875 Headquarters, 48th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, in Macon, Georgia displays a static OV-1D as part of an outdoor exhibit. 62-5880 Texas Air Museum in Slayton, Texas has a modified OV-1D that was used by NASA that is on loan from the Museum of Naval Aviation. 62-5906 Cockpit only on display at the Valiant Air Command Warbird Museum. 64-14247 The United States Army's Tobyhanna Army Depot in Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania, has an OV-1B on display outside the main gate access control point. 64-14252 to the Mississippi Armed Forces Museum at Camp Shelby has an OV-1 on static display. 67-18902 The Evergreen Aviation and Amp Space Museum in McMinnville, Oregon displays a static OV-1D. 6718922 Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia displays a static OV-1D as part of an outdoor exhibit. 6718930 Fort Huachuca, Arizona maintains a static display of an OV-1 Mohawk. 6815932 OV-1DC N136C Argentine Army Aviation A-O21 displayed at the Argentine Army Museum Museo Histórico del Ejército, Buenos Aires, Argentina. 6815939 McLean's Military Museum in Anderson, Indiana has an OV-1 on static display. 6916998 The Valiant Air Command Warbird Museum at Space Coast Regional Airport in Titusville, Florida has a static OV-1 on display. 6917007 The 1st Cavalry Division Museum at Fort Hood, Texas displays a static OV-1D as part of an outdoor exhibit. 6917010 The United States Army Aviation Museum at Fort Rucker, Alabama displays a static OV-1D as part of the outdoor exhibit at the intersection of Red Cloud Avenue and Ruff Avenue. The United States Army Intelligence and Security Command Headquarters Building at Fort Beaver, Virginia displays a static OV-1D. Azoplane partners in current possession of the Air Zeus OV-1D. OV-1DX Argentine Army Aviation in the Aviation del Ejército Argentino Park, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Specifications: General characteristics. Crew 2 Pilot. Observer. Length 41 feet 0 in. Wingspan 48 feet 0 in. Height 12 feet 8 in. Wing area 360 feet squared. Empty weight 12,054 pounds. Loaded weight 15,544 pounds. Max takeoff weight 18,109 pounds. Power plant 2 times Lycoming T53L701 turboprops 1,400 shp each. Performance never exceeds speed 450 miles per hour. Maximum speed 305 miles per hour at 10,000 feet. Cruise speed 207 miles per hour. Stall speed 84 miles per hour. Range 944 miles. Service ceiling 25,000 feet. Rate of climb 3,450 feet per minute.